Hello, everyone. For those who haven't been keeping up in current events, did you know I've been in the internet space since 1993? My first computer was a 486 SX25, I believe. I got into website development shortly after that, and that means often you would need to think of a great domain name you could buy to put on your website. So, for example, deheck.com, and you type that in, and up comes the website. Today, we're going to be talking about domain name registers and domain name fees. So back in 1993, registering a domain name was a relatively simple, almost routine step when developing a website. The first thing you do is think, what am I going to call this business? Is there a domain name that's available? You paid your fee, you got the domain name, and you basically moved on. So over the years, I've registered plenty of domains, and a figure off the top of my head, over 1,000 of domains at least I would have registered. But I'd never really stopped to think about where that money that you pay to register a domain name actually went, how it's divvied up. Why do we need to pay a domain name fee, and what do they do with the money? Recently, some things have changed. Domain name prices in New Zealand have started creeping up. Not a little bit, quite noticeably. At first, I assumed the regulators, these are the people in between the actual wholesalers who sell the domain name, were bumping up their prices like a lot of companies do these days. The same way companies adjust their services over time, I thought it was just all part of we're not making the profits that we need to, so we'll just increase our prices. But once I started investigating, I found out this wasn't the case at all. It's the wholesale price of NZ domains that have increased across the board for everybody. So people are forced to pay more to the wholesalers before they sell the domain names or let domain names be picked by anybody and registered. So they can't help it. And when the cost is pushed up by the source, every registrar has no choice but to pass it on. And that's when the penny dropped. We're all paying more, but nobody is explaining why. So I dug a little bit deeper, and what I found was genuinely concerning and almost feels like we're being held to ransom by an organisation that markets itself as transparent, like a lot of companies that I do research on, yet refuse to provide even the most basic breakdown of where their millions of dollars are actually going. Behind the scenes, there are people, including whistleblowers, trying to hold InternetNZ accountable. Yet, the moment questions arose, they ignored, dismissed, or buried under vague statements about internal policy and approved form. I don't even know what that word is.
Approved formats.
Approved formats. Now, why is that coming over to that computer when I press that sound? I'm just going to have to fix up my sound here. 1 second, please, caller, just in case my sound's not coming out very good. Let's see what we can do. We've got that sound, and that sound, and that sound. Hopefully that, let's test that sound and see whether we get it coming through the speakers.
This investigation.
Nope, something's going wrong. So hopefully you guys are hearing me nice, loud and clear, but let's go back to our script. We have done a presentation. This investigation uncovers what really happens with the money, the decision-making, the claimed regulatory authority, and the complete lack of accountability inside the organisation that manages the NZ domain name space. So let's get into it. Now, I will be honest, I did actually want to explain. I'm just going to see if I get this sound going right. Something's not going right here in my system. Why would it be coming from there? Something's not right. Ugh. Okay, I'm just... Oh dear, have I just screwed up this whole... Sound back. Sound back. Danny's frozen. I think I shouldn't have pulled that cable out. Whoop, we're back. I don't think I should have pulled that cable out, just saying. But anyway, I'm not sure now. I've got a good sound here. I'm going to test my sound once again. And that's better. All right, so for those who don't know me, I record live. And today we have got a couple of people in the chat room. We've got Queen of Karma and also I call Velvet. Nice to have you here. Now I'm actually going to start this again because I'm going to chop this up. And we are going to use it for the real video. So I record live and then I can interact with my audience. So unfortunately, you guys, you're going to have to watch me do that again because I want a good recording for this one so I can chop it up. Are you ready to hear the same speech you've just heard? I'm just going to have another swig of my coffee. Alrighty. So here I'm going to start here, steering straight at the camera, and we'll get this going again. It won't be the same. It never is the same. But anyway, you'll get to see me doing what I do. Hopefully later on we'll be able to jump into a few Zoom meetings and see what's happening on the internet and watch some scammers trying to scam mum and dad investors. That's what I'm sort of more known for. And if you haven't been to the website lately, go to theheck.com. You'll see we mention we're now on Wikipedia. We've got people trying to ruin our Wikipedia. If there's any Wikipedia authors out there that can help us combat the fake content that we get, it would be very much appreciated. So currently we've got some bad actors who are posting stuff on my Wikipedia page that we can't control. We remove it, and as one of the people I know who's helped me with it said, they keep coming back. So some pretty evil people out there. When you go and bust scammers, you get people who cause a lot of disruption in the field. But anyway, let's not get distracted. Let's get back into this video, and we will do a big pause so I can see the space, and I'll steer straight into the camera. Hello everybody, nice to have you here. Did you know that I've been in the internet space since 2093 when I got my first computer? It was a SX25, 486 SX25. It was beautiful. I loved it. And I started getting into website development when I started up Christchurch's first internet cafe. So the process when you're starting up building websites is often you need a domain name, and that's where today's discussion and blog is really going to be of interest to those people who register domain names and wondering why the prices have been increasing in the New Zealand domain name space regularly. So back in 1993, you would simply register a domain name, and it was also almost a routine step. You paid a fee, you got the domain name, and you moved on. And to be honest, I've registered plenty of domain names over the years. Off the top of my head, I would say over 1,000 domain names. Do you know, I've never actually really stopped to think where the money goes. I had wondered why I have to pay to register a domain name, and I thought it may be administration, but with today's world, it's all automated a lot of the time, isn't it? So as I said, I've never really stopped to think where the money went when you pay for a domain name. But recently, things have started to change. Domain name prices in New Zealand have started to creep up. Not a little bit, quite noticeably. At first glance, I assumed the registrars were bumping up their margins the same way many companies adjust for their services over time. But once I started investigating, I found out that wasn't the case actually at all. It's the wholesale price of domains that have been increasing across the board for everyone. When the cost is pushed up at the source, every registrar has no choice but to pass it on. That's when the penny dropped. We're all paying more, but nobody is actually explaining why. So I started to dig a little bit deeper, and what I found was genuinely concerning, hence why I've published a blog and now doing a video to raise some awareness around this thing that's happening. It almost feels like we're being held for ransom. An organisation that markets itself as transparent, yet refuses to provide even the most basic breakdown of where their millions of dollars are going. Behind the scenes, there are people, including whistleblowers, who are trying to hold InternetNZ accountable. Now that's the organisation that basically is putting the wholesale rates of domain names up. Now, I must say, nothing's really changed. Their costs haven't seemed to have increased. They're still making a profit, but they put their prices up anyway. That's probably the reason we're doing this video. Yet the moment they are questions are raised, they are ignored, dismissed, or buried under vague statements about internal policy and approved formats. So this investigation uncovers what's really happening with the money, the decision making, the claimed regulatory authority, and the complete lack of accountability inside the organisation that manages the NZ domain name space. So, hello KB, we've got quite a few people in the chat room, which I love to see. We've got Megan, Megan Lynch. I love it. I know that's not the real Megan Lynch because she hates me. But it's been a bit of a roller coaster for myself lately, ladies and gentlemen, and I do love when I do investigations. So if you do want to support me in what I do, you can actually go to my website and click on support me, and you can actually sponsor a review. So if you go to this page here, you can actually, I think you can go to the shop, and in here you can actually sponsor a review. And I've actually got a bit of a thing going at the moment when I'm trying to raise $10,000. I would like to be able to do this full time, and I think I actually am a long way away on that. I'm heading. So what have I done so far? I've got 15% of my $10,000 goal, and if you want to support me, you can sponsor a review or donate towards the cause, and then I will basically go through, look at a company and highlight the red flags, put together a blog and potentially a video very similar to this. Now, I don't do this for the money, but I am trying to be a full-time investigative journalist. And as I'm in the private sector, I'm literally trying to do this as a full-time job to merit the time and energy that I put into it. If you don't know much about me and what I do, I have a team of Avengers who actually provide me a lot of intel about things that are going on. At the moment, we're uncovering some of the biggest scams that are going on in the world. And I've been featured in the New York Times, Bloomberg, and also the Guardian newspapers had a field day working with me exposing some massive scams. For example, the one about Sam Lee, a $1.9 billion scam. I've always called it a $4 billion scam, but no one really understands how that all works. But anyway, so I've got my head around things that I see that aren't quite right. And recently I've been getting myself into a little bit of trouble because people are fighting back, not with the answers that I'm asking, but with legal letters threatening things like I'm doing defamation because they claim they don't want to answer my questions and it's ruining their reputation. So I say to people, why don't you just answer the question? And this particular review is a prime example of the lengths that I have to go to get a response. And to date, I've got crickets. And that's why I'm now putting these people out on notice. So if you have any information about the InternetNZ domain name registrar and any correspondence that you have given them that has gone to deaf ears, I want to know about it. And we'll add amendments into the blog as we get them. So this is a live blog and it will be updated as we get more and more details as the time goes on. But let's not bore you with me talking. Let's get into the blog and let's see what we can do.
When an organization controls the NZ domain space, manages millions in charitable funds, and positions itself as a guardian of New Zealand's digital infrastructure, the public expects transparency, honesty, and proper governance.
Well, you do, don't you? If they make those claims, then why can't we see where the money goes and what you do with it? Especially when it's not, we'll find out. I'm going to get my
Instead, InternetNZ, INZ, and its wholly owned subsidiary, the Domain Name Commission Limited, DNC, have demonstrated a pattern of stonewalling, secrecy, unanswered questions, and escalating financial concerns.
Yeah. And I really, when I went through the documents here that we're about to view together, I'm finding business really hard at the moment. I make my money by selling drop shipping ready to go websites. I'm not selling as many as I used to. Times are really, really hard. You've got people in these offices who are more concerned about what temperature to have the office at with their air conditioning units. I don't believe they've got real entrepreneurial spirit. A lot of people that register domain names aren't just big corporate companies. They're small individuals like myself who are trying to make ends meet, self-employed, And then all of a sudden they decide to put the price of domain names up. When you've got 100 domain names like I used to, I don't now, but I used to look after 100 domain names, increasing prices actually really affects business. And I have to justify forwarding my prices and my fees I charge for registering domain names on behalf of my clients as well. So they just put the price up. You would expect them to say, oh, we had to buy a new computer that goes bing, and it cost bing, and we need to increase the prices because bing, but they don't. They just put the prices up. And it's not like they're making losses. This reminds me of I'm not going to get off target here, but the passports in New Zealand, they decided that they would make it that you had to renew your passport every 5 years. And now it's gone back to 10 years because they had a surplus of funds that they couldn't justify having in the bank account. It's just a mathematical sum, millions of dollars sitting there because they decided to move it into 5 years instead of 10 years. These companies who claim they're transparent and they're not losing money, putting up their prices with no accountability, no reasoning. What's going on? Let's find out.
Over the past several months, I have reviewed InternetNZ's accounts, examined public documents, spoken with multiple parties, contacted MBIE, engaged with whistleblowers, and reached out directly to InternetNZ's leadership. The more I uncovered, the clearer the picture became. Something is seriously wrong inside InternetNZ.
Yeah, so let's investigate the evidence. I'm going to read the title because that was the most
A
exciting.
pattern of silence from an organisation that claims transparency.
Yeah, and I do have a sound, but I don't think I actually have a sound of crickets on my soundboard, which is always quite sometimes. I do have this one I quite like. It's games. What's it called? Something games. Squid Game. and if I find something funny, I'll make sure I do this. And I always my mum used to always say when there's something, we had a family, if we ever had a family gathering and somebody was in a bad way and the room went silent, my mum used to always chirp up and say, no one's talking about the elephant in the room. So maybe this is a chance for us to, have a look. Now, I don't know if I've read that paragraph after all the excitement.
InternetNZ repeatedly describes itself as transparent and accountable. However, members, journalists, registrars, and whistleblowers all report the same behaviour. Legitimate questions ignored, disclosures dismissed, and accountability avoided.
Yes, so they just want to ignore these important questions.
At the 2025 AGM, attended by more than 1,000 members, dozens of reasonable questions were submitted. Most were left unanswered, even when there were no other questions in the queue. These questions covered.
Yeah, now is that AGM to the public? Imagine doing that. I mean, this is what we get in these Zoom meetings where we gate crash and we're asking questions and they kick us out. At least I don't know if they kick people out, but not answering the tricky questions. Just answer the easy questions. And some of the questions, I'm not saying this is the case, but I've seen this in other things that we've investigated. And they'll answer the questions that have been staged by people.
Public good funding conflicts of interest who approves grant allocations. DNC's legal authority financial transparency governance concerns the 22% NZ price increase.
Yes. So these were some of the questions that people wanted answered.
InternetNZ did not answer them. That silence reflects a broader pattern.
Yeah. So let's have a look into it and see what this company is actually doing. Millions flowing out without proper public disclosure. InternetNZ accounts reveal several red flags. And listen to this. Now, this is the truth of the matter.
In 2025, InternetNZ transferred $11 million into an endowment fund. This fund now pays out around $1 million per year. On top of this, InternetNZ's main accounts appear to distribute a further $4 million annually to external entities. None of this is properly itemized or publicly explained.
Yeah, so if I've got my facts and figures wrong, please let me know. I would like to have the correct information. We obviously get intel from the Russia. Oh, no, we don't. But you know what I'm saying? If I haven't got this information correct, this is what we have gathered. And we're trying to be transparent here. And this should be transparent anyway. And we should be able to find these figures quite readily. But that's what we've come up with so far.
After InternetNZ increased NZ wholesale pricing by 22% in July 2025, it added roughly $3 million per year to its revenue. A whistleblower summarized the scale succinctly.
Yeah, so now we've gone from 5 to 8, I think, but let's have a listen.
In
Exactly.
2025, the total amount flowing externally may have been as high as $5 million. In 2026, once the price increase is included, it could be $8 million.
Yeah, so it does piss me off really because I've actually been in the offices of in Wellington with this company before, because when I was starting out, I used to hitchhike myself around New Zealand creating one-page websites for people, and I used to register domain names for clients all the time. And I was actually quite well known at the moment. I actually started off a business way back in 1997, and I used to call myself New Zealand's mobile internet consultant. I actually called myself New Zealand's leading internet consultant because there was no such category at the time called internet consultant. So I thought I'd take that and call myself the leading internet consultant and also the worst internet consultant because there was no category. That's my reasoning at the time. I was only young. But I used to, I used to have an online calendar where people could see whereabouts I was traveling around New Zealand, and I used to have people watching it. And they used to see I was coming to Wellington or I was going to Palmerston North, wherever it was. People would reach out to me and say, "Oh, I see you on the road heading our way. Could you drop in and see us? We'd like to talk to you about getting a web page on the internet." So I built that business up. Turned over $500,000 turnover in 1 year. I took home $275,000 as a wage for me and my wife at the time. So I did quite well. And that same company actually generated me a six-figure income, a real six-figure income for 10 years straight. So I was a bit of a legend back then. What ruined it was getting married, getting a divorce, and also the internet changed. And I couldn't move with the times. But I had a real good relationship with Domains NZ because I was one of the original internet people. So there's something you might not know about me. And I've had my criticism along the way because I do things differently. Every time you do, you get criticised by somebody who normally lives in an office with an air conditioning unit. Just saying. But in that case, I did actually go into the offices in Wellington where the domain names were actually registered to meet the people. And they were sort of like quite happy to see me at the time, which is good.
Yet InternetNZ refuses to provide who receives these funds, why recipients were chosen, who approves the allocations, whether conflicts of interest exist, what oversight is in place, which board or staff are involved in decision-making.
Yeah, now one of those ones that really does stick out to me, whether conflicts of interest exist. And that's the big crutch of this, because we are all, like you buy a lotto ticket and Lotto New Zealand divvies up the money and gives it to a lot of charities. And then you can see the charities that are benefiting from receiving the money. So if there's conflicts of interest, then these need to be addressed. And that's one of the veins of this whole investigation, is there's some charities that seem to be receiving funds and we're not sure what exactly is going on. And for an organisation that claims to be transparent, we're kind of saying, well, why aren't you guys transparent?
For a charity entrusted with public interest funds, this level of opacity is unacceptable.
Unacceptable, Captain Ben.
Potential conflicts of interest. Who benefits from these payments? One of the most serious concerns raised by multiple whistleblowers is the possibility of conflicts of interest between InternetNZ's board members and the organisations receiving funding. This isn't an accusation, it's an unanswered question, and the fact that InternetNZ refuses to disclose basic information makes the question even more important.
Yeah, now look at me. Here I am basically giving you a summary of what I'm about to read. Obviously, you might think I've read this article before, which I have. I've prepared it. So, I just don't know why companies can keep getting away with this. Is it because they're cozy and they're little wee, what do they call those, in your matchbox, full of fluff? What do they call that stuff? Cotton wool buds. And they've all been packaged up nice and safely, and they're nice and cozy in their wee corporate offices. And they're going, oh, we can do what we bloody well like. We don't have to be worried about anyone sticking their nose in our business because we're protected, because we've got all this protection around us. Well, you haven't really, have you? Because surely if the Commerce Commission, if this was a proper company, the Commerce Commission could go and have a field day, really, couldn't they? You make claims. Can you back those claims up? That's what I've been doing.
The public still has no transparency over who sits on the committees or panels making funding decisions, whether any board or staff member has direct or indirect ties to the beneficiaries, whether any of the money flows back through relationships, associations, or aligned entities whether declarations of interest even exist, or if they're enforced. No one is saying wrongdoing has occurred.
No, and that's got to be very clear about it. We're not saying wrongdoing has occurred. However, if you could answer a few questions for us, it may actually save you a lot of grief. Now, the other thing I will say, if my team of Avengers decided to start investigating this full time, we would find connections normally. I'm not saying this is the case here, but this is what we do. We've gone into Florida at the moment. And we've found 130 people in connection to Goliath Ventures Inc. And they're running a large-scale Ponzi scheme. Now, I'm the whistleblower. They've offered me $150,000 to shut that up. And that's quite alarming. And now we're going for another wave. Something really cool happened yesterday, which I can't tell you, but we go in there and we find 130 people that are connected to one scam, one individual. And everyone's got their own story and reason to be involved. When you start spending the time and the energy investigating where the money goes, who collects it, who knows who, these circles that you see where people are in different organizations start to overlap. And then we see what's really going on. Now, I haven't investigated this, I'll be honest. We've just read a bit of correspondence, stuck our nose in, read a few documents, scratched your head a few bit, and said there's too many red flags here. But one simple thing could happen that would make a complete difference to this whole, let's say, fiasco. And that would be a transparent organisation actually starting to be transparent would help a lot. That's all we're saying. So, hey, we might be sniffing up the wrong tree or barking up the wrong frog, but we really want to get some answers. And that's the problem. We're not getting the answers. All for donating money to companies. If you want to donate to somebody who fights scams, I've got my hand up. Would I take money from this organisation? You bet your bottom dollar. Would I like to know why they decided to help me? Yeah, why not? Would I be proud to stand on the stage at the next AGM and say that I receive funds from domain names NZ because I fight scams and we report domain names that have been set up? Just recently, I don't know if they've got the .co.nz, but we reported a scam called prime10.co, so prime10.co. Now, it's a New Zealand company called prime10.co. They've registered themselves at number 1 Victoria Street in Wellington. The company doesn't exist. However, it's running a massive scam. So we went to the, what do they call that thing? They registered a company. So we went to the company office and we also went to the FMA. The FMA took about 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks to come back to us saying, oh, that's interesting. We'll put a notice on our website for you. I said, thank you. And we got a little wee paragraph like this saying, be careful, New Zealanders. The next day, I got a phone call from the company office of New Zealand, basically saying, oh, we'll send them a letter. And I'm going, how are you going to send them a letter? Because the address is number 1 Victoria Street. I went onto Google Maps and I can see that's a 12-story building. They haven't actually given you a physical address. Oh, and as for the name on the company, the guy, it looks like he signed that with as a 2-year-old, and he doesn't actually exist. There's no digital footprint. Oh, you're right, they said. But now that company's been struck off. Great. But I think the company got struck off the New Zealand Company Register before the financial regulator who's there to protect New Zealanders from scams actually did anything. But in the meantime, I'm wondering, did the domain name company here stop them from registering a .co.nz address? Why you would think that the company that controls the domain name would actually want to work in with somebody like myself or correspond or know that I exist, because I could go through and find all the .co.nz addresses where they're potentially running scams, and having a good relationship with domains, internet NZ, the domain name controller, could be a good thing. But anyway, I get crickets when I email them, as you'll find out. I don't know if I got off on a tangent there, but I'm just saying that if they want to sponsor me, I'm happy. And I don't mind if I have to stand up in front of the all the members and explain what I do with the money that they gave me. But that would be transparent, wouldn't it?
The issue is that InternetNZ has created an environment where the public cannot tell either way. For a charitable organisation controlling millions in public money-derived revenue, that is unacceptable.
Actually, just after that waffle. Now, I usually use First Domains for my register. Now, this company's got absolutely nothing to do with this whole. This company I've been using for years. But if I went to search for Prime, because this is the name of the scam, prime.co, I don't even know what a CO domain name is, but it tells me that that domain name is unavailable. And if I click on the who is, which you won't be able to see because there's another pop-up window, I'll just tell you who actually owns it. Boom. 1 minute, please, caller. It's taking its time. Nothing's happening. But anyway, so that Prime 10 is a full-blown scam. It's a company that's registered here in New Zealand. This domain name, I presume, is not actually registered within the New Zealand domain name industry. So that's a wee bit misleading what I've done. But let's say I wanted to do a .co.nz version of that domain name, and that domain name is available. Isn't that crack up? So that one there I could go register, and that would go through, I would have to register that. But to register that domain name is going to cost me $39, and I think that's plus GST. Now, these domain names used to cost me under $30 each, so there's been a bit of a hike in pricing, and I'm sure First Domains, just for the use of their example there, are actually absorbed some of that pricing until the point where it got ridiculous, where they thought we have to increase our pricing. And I'm actually pissed off now because I have to actually pay more. So I'm assuming that if I register that domain name, it's plus GST. And I'm just going to create a new account. It doesn't tell me how much it's going to cost me yet till I get all the way through it. So I'm guessing it's maybe $39 plus GST, or maybe it is $39. But when you have 100 domain names, that's actually a lot of money. It's around about $4,000 a year that I'm paying, and I have to pass on to my customers because my customers don't know about domain name registers and they don't know anything. But my point is, I've got a bit of a bane under my belt, if that's the right word, because a lot of companies can just go out there and fire up a domain name, set up a website present, and run a scam. And the very last thing that we have to do is we have to submit a whole lot of information to get these scams reported. Having a relationship with a domain name company could be a really good thing, rather than have to wait for the FMA to come out. And and something I didn't show you, just while we're on my high horse here, if you did go to this company here who's claiming to be registered in New Zealand, they blocked, when I started corresponding with them instantly, as I was talking to them, they blocked the domain name from anyone in New Zealand seeing that website. But they're still promoting it as an actual opportunity for New Zealanders. So if I go Prime 10, you can see that they're still coming up in the search engines, and you can turn 10 into 10 files with Prime 10. And you come down here, you can now see the warning, and you can also see, so here's the FMA warning. I'm just using this as an example of how hard it is for us to block a domain name. So you can see Prime 10, and they're based in number 1 Victoria Street, Wellington, which, if you really want to get into this with me, you can see here that they are claiming that if you go to the company office, they were claiming that this was their address, and that just happens to be a, I'm guessing, 12-story building. And would you believe I've actually been in that building, and I know. So that was a bogus address, a bogus everything. I think it took, I don't know, took a long time. Took, I don't know, 8 weeks, I think, before the FMA actually decided to push that out. But it literally took me, that's on my website. I'm just gonna show you. It took me 2 hours to do a full investigation about this company and to shut down this website. To produce a blog and a video, it took me about 2 hours all up. Why do government departments not work so fast? So here I am standing here, and this Prime team company, this lovely lady standing in front of the beehive, targeting New Zealanders, and the scam's still going today. Why do government departments take so long to act? How come I can't go to the domain name registrar and shut that domain name down in a heartbeat? All I needed to do was to provide a link to the New Zealand, company office. I just needed to prove that they hadn't got a proper address. I had to prove that the person that is the company owner didn't exist, no digital footprint. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, that's how hard it is for us to stop. So these domain name companies, what are they actually doing with the money? That's my point. I'm not saying that prime10.co was the responsibility of InternetNZ, but I'm just using it as an example, as a blanket example, that policing domain names could actually make a huge difference to fighting scams. And they don't do it.
DNC repeatedly calls itself a regulator. MBIE says it is not. Throughout 2024 to 2025, DNC representatives repeatedly referred to themselves as regulators, both publicly and in written communications. At the 2025...
So I've just read that paragraph twice, but regulators of what? And if they claim to be regulators, then what are they regulating? So, and I just don't think that really added up. I'm going to read this paragraph. Remind me, somebody, that I've read this paragraph. I've read it twice.
The Memorandum of Understanding between MBIE and InternetNZ uses the word regulate. This language does not confer any legal authority. DNC is not a regulator in law. The MOR is purely administrative. InternetNZ may amend the MOR appendix at any time. InternetNZ and DNC appear to have built years of public-facing communication on an authority they do not possess. This raises obvious concerns under the Fair Trading Act.
Yeah, once upon a time, Danny thought it was a good idea to sell dietary supplements. So he used to buy them from e-vitamins.com, import them to New Zealand, and then whatever it cost me to land these vitamins, I used to double the price, put them on the internet, and sell them. And I used to sell about $5,000 worth of dietary supplements every year. And if you go to dietarysupplements.co.nz, you can see that I was selling dietary supplements way back in, I don't know, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, long time ago. Then one day I got a phone call from a company, MedSafe, and MedSafe told me that I'm not doing anything wrong. However, each of the products I have on my website need to be put through screening, and each of the products I was selling would cost me at least $10,000, and I wouldn't be able to use any claims that I had on the labels that come into New Zealand. I'd have to relabel all the products. And they said, and if I didn't comply, that I could face a $200,000 fine for each product. I went, oh my God. So while the lady was talking to me on the phone, I just deleted the website and said, oh, sorry, I've done that. I've deleted the website. She goes, oh, you don't need to do that. You didn't need to do that. And I go, well, I did really, because I'm a small business, come up with a brain fart of an idea. I was making about $2,000 a month selling dietary supplements, drop shipping them, not having them. And then I realized the seriousness of what I did. Anyways, after I deleted the website, I found out that they weren't a government organization. They were claiming that they had some sort of clout. They didn't. I still listened to them, still deleted products. But at the time, MedSafe wasn't actually government regulatory. It was an advisory. I don't know what I'm talking about. But what I'm getting at is some of these companies pass off on some things that they're not really. And under scrutiny, they're using it as clout. And it's not clout. It's just made up bullshit. Let's carry on.
The Memorandum of Understanding PDF as part of this investigation, I reviewed the official Memorandum of Understanding between MBIE and InternetNZ, 2016, amended 2025. This document is central because it is the only instrument InternetNZ and DNC rely on when claiming to regulate the NZ domain space. The MOR outlines administrative expectations but does not grant any statutory or legislative authority.
Yeah, so it doesn't have any authority to act, but it's like being dressed up as a policeman, knocking on somebody's door and going, hello, hello, hello. And you go, oh, you're a policeman. Can I see your badge? And they pull out some sort of like fake ID. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you get the idea. I think it speaks for itself, doesn't it?
MBIE reinforced this when it confirmed that the MOR does not provide any legislative authority for InternetNZ or the Domain Name Commission to perform any function. The MOR is available publicly on InternetNZ's own website and is an important document for anyone seeking to understand the limits of DNC's actual legal standing.
Right, we haven't pulled up their website, so sorry about that. We will do that now. So this is the company that controls all the domain names in New Zealand. You can go through here and you can read about their services, their rules, and you can get into it. You can bury your head and go down a rabbit hole if you choose to do so. Oops, now there's a bit hopeless. Who's your website developer? How do I get rid of that? How do I get rid of that white bar? That's crazy. Our services. I have to click on here, do I? Oh, my goodness. Okay, just why I knew how to do that. So you can see it's quite an extensive website. Contact and support. You can go through insights and media, code of conduct, net talks, NZ consumer and business research and internet that benefits, public policy agenda, all sorts of things. Oh, I have to click on that again. Discover us. our strategy, our plan, some merry words that I got. The other day, I got a lawyer's letter. Because I couldn't pronounce the scammer's name, they called me a racist. Anyway, I'm not going to have a go at pronouncing that. I'll give it a go with ChatGPT.
Te kahutonu.
Now, I bet that's not pronounced correctly. Are you going to write a letter to OpenAI and complain that they are a racist because it didn't pronounce your names correctly? Isn't that crazy? Yeah, so that was a serious thing. That was on one of my blogs previously. Anyway, code of conduct, NZ fellows, our board. Let's have a look at the board. Our board members. So it looks like they spent a lot of time doing their website and providing a nice transparency. So these are the people behind it. I'm not saying they're guilty of anything, but obviously there's people who go to work. It looks like they all work in a nice office, which is great. Good on you guys for having a nice, secure job. It's pretty hard out here at the moment. I'll be honest. We register these domain names. It's a cost that we sort of don't like paying. And when you put your prices up, your wholesale prices up by 22% without any real reason, it does make it hard for businesses. So now we'll go back to where I was, which could be a disaster. So now we're at the memorandum of understanding. And in here, you can sit here and you can read to your heart's content. So I've uploaded a copy of it, and it basically outlines the whole 9 yards. Interesting reading if you're in the New Zealand space and you want to have a read of this article. What it does and doesn't do, it's right here. But yeah, it's not quite doing what they claim, I believe. And there's 8 pages of interesting stuff there for you to sit there and have a cup of coffee and have a read and do a deep dive, which would be absolutely fantastic. I'm sure you'd enjoy it more than me. Whistleblowing disclosure ignored and dismissed. In 2025, several whistleblowing disclosures were made involving allegations of. Now, this is what the whistleblowers are telling me that I need to make really clear for everybody who's involved.
Oppressive and discriminatory conduct, failure to investigate legitimate complaints, attempts to suppress allegations, stonewalling by both INZ and DNC, conflicts of interest and mismanagement, breaches of obligations under the Protected Disclosures Act.
Right, so they've got into a deep dive. I'm just the I don't know what I am. I'm a hairy monster at the moment. If you haven't noticed, I'm growing a beard, so I can shave it off and hide my identity when things get a bit more dangerous. Things are actually really dangerous in my life at the moment, just sort of say that. In case you see me not here one day, it might be because I'm in the corner of my room crying in the fetal position. But it is actually a dangerous job what I do. But this one here, to me, I'll probably, what could potentially happen in here to Danny? I could receive some, normally I don't get replies via email from the companies that I email, as you'll see. I get threats of legal proceedings. I don't get too many people threatening my life, but it is actually an occurrence that happens quite a lot. So I've got to think twice before I expose anything that I believe might be a bit, how do I say, red flags, because it actually does have a detrimental effect to me and my personal safety sometimes. Not saying that's the case here, but it is a concern every time I do some whistleblowing myself.
Disclosures were sent to the chair of DNC, the CEO of InternetNZ, the chair of InternetNZ. The proper escalation channels months passed with no investigation. Some disclosures were dismissed as not serious, without proper review.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is everything's serious in my eyes. Anything to do with affecting I think 40% of Kiwis are self-employed. So I think it would be safe to say, at a guess, nearly everybody has a website. Nearly everybody has to pay a domain name renewal fee every year. It's a licensing fee that we all have to pay. So if you don't know how it works, I own theheck.com. Right now, when I register that domain name, it doesn't go through InternetNZ. It goes through some other exchange. They have a wholesale price where somebody can on-sell the rights to let somebody register. They manage all the administration, and then they make their money, and that's how a business survives. Now, I also own danny.co.nz. Now, that is a New Zealand A-grade domain name. And if that's the case, then who lets them register is InternetNZ. And they wholesale the price of those domain names off to the registrar. Now, the registrar sends me a bill every year, and then I pay it. In my case, I register domain names for my clients. Not all the time, but sometimes a client will want me to manage their domain name. Now, I actually charge $100 a year to look after the domain name administration for a customer. And then when it comes to renewing the domain name, if it costs me, I think I get a bit of a discount because I have a few domain names, but let's say it costs me $30, I'll actually charge $39 plus GST to register that domain name on a client's behalf. Or I can just give that domain name to the client. He can log into the register. He can set up his email forwarding, and he can remember to pay his domain name on time, or he would lose that domain name. So if danny.co.nz wasn't renewed, then it goes into a holding bay for 3 months. And then after the 3 months, it goes back to the public. And anybody can go out there and register a domain name that has gone back out to the public. First in, first served is New Zealand rule. Interesting. But, .coms are different, .cos are different. And recently they've come out with a whole lot of different alternatives. Like you can get danny.kiwi, you can get danny.info, you can get danny.net. One scam that we were busting regularly actually had their name.org, which means you're a non-profit organization, even though they're providing financial services. So just to give you a little heads up on what a domain name is and why you need them. Sometimes you don't, sometimes you do. Sometimes you can use a subdomain. For example, you go to podcast.teheck.com and find my podcast. That's a subdomain, and that's a good use of a domain name. Rather than getting teheckspodcast.com, I can set up a domain name, call it podcast.teheck.com, and have that bringing up some other content that isn't on my webpage as such. Anyway, there we go.
International precedent. Comparing INZ to nominate, UK. A relevant comparison exists in the United Kingdom. In 2021, nominate, the operator of the UK namespace, faced a revolt triggered by
Here we go.
opaque financial decisions, declining trust governance failures, questionable allocations, ignored complaints.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's a like-minded company.
The end result was extraordinary. The board was removed by its members. The similarities between the nominate situation and current issues at InternetNZ are notable.
Well, there you go. So people like me, whistleblowing, creating awareness around these things. Here's a company in the UK that the board members all got struck off. So you could be concerned, you guys. You might not be able to find the air conditioning remote in the office on Monday, but you might have some other concerns when people get more aware of what's actually going on or what's not going on. Be more transparent, I'd recommend.
Who oversees InternetNZ? The current board, given the scale of financial authority, public responsibility, and decision-making power involved, it is important to understand who currently oversees InternetNZ and is accountable for its governance. The following individuals sit on InternetNZ's board. All details come directly from InternetNZ's publicly available profiles.
Yeah, so we're not going to go read through all those, but there's 8 people who sit on the board at the moment. You can read these names if you want, and I'm sure there's some pretty clever people in there as well. We've got chartered accountants, IT, technology leadership. What the heck? I have to read these because it's too good not to.
Stephen Judd, chairperson with over 30 years in IT and technology leadership. Judd was elected in 2023 and now chairs the organisation during a period of increasing scrutiny from members and the public. Anjum Rahman, deputy chairperson, a chartered accountant with decades of governance experience in community and international organisations. Rahman brings strong financial and policy background to the board.
Now, just remember, just because ChatGPT isn't potentially pronouncing these names correct, it doesn't mean that I or OpenAI is racist, just in case I get a lawyer's letter.
Anthony Bowe, appointed board member based in Auckland. Bowe has extensive experience in investment management, finance, and taxation, including leadership roles in financial services entities.
Now, we've got some classy people.
Kate Pearce, elected board member. Pearce is head of security at TradeMe and has a background in cybersecurity research, network protocol security, and diversity advocacy within the tech sector.
Now, that one there really kind of pisses me off. Head of security at TradeMe. Now, if you don't know what trademe.co.nz is, it's like an eBay website. Recently, you can log in there and they don't have two-factor authentication. Would you believe? So I don't think they do, but you can basically log in. And what people have been doing is dormant accounts from people who might be in their 70s who don't use TradeMe anymore and have really weak passwords are getting their accounts hacked. And people are going in there and listing items for sale. And then when they transfer the money for the products that they've purchased, so they'll put listings on the website. People will purchase them, put the money into a bank account. You can switch out your bank account number without, you can actually go in there, hack into somebody's TradeMe account, switch out the email address to anything that you want. And there's no security around it. And it's been happening. At the moment, if you go and search for TradeMe and search for security, you can see now that one of the main reasons that they haven't done this is they have this thing called ping. And if you use ping to handle the money, it's what they call like more secure, but it costs you an extra percent on transactions. So if anyone said to me that they're the head of security at TradeMe at the moment, that is actually a major red flag, because TradeMe has been in the papers over and over again, and their whole systems need to be overhauled. And it's like saying everyone that's involved in TradeMe they need to scratch that company and redo the way people log in and improve their security by tenfold, because at the moment the vulnerabilities in that company is just over the top. So the fact that they've got somebody on the board member for this who's head of security for TradeMe doesn't mean shit to me. Just saying.
Pothole Abiasini Tuli, elected board member, a long-standing advocate for digital empowerment within Maori communities. Biasini Tuli co-founded Digital Natives Academy and works across technology, storytelling and education.
Storytelling, that's a hard case. I'm just actually telling somebody that we're live on the internet at the moment. 1 minute, please, caller. YouTube done. Oh, hold on, did that work? Well, I think it did. And do that one there as well. So let's have a go. Let's go. I don't know, I didn't listen to that one, but I presume that's if I didn't read that one. So yeah, so I'm glad I went through the TradeMe exercise.
Richard Hulse, elected board member, a former RNZ media manager with deep experience in governance, digital transformation, and internet culture. Hulse has served on the InternetNZ Council since 2015.
To Radio New Zealand, I've actually been interviewed by them a couple of times.
Witu Fowler, appointed board member, a respected producer, director, and governance figure in Aotearoa's creative sector, with more than 35 years' experience across film, television and iwi-based media.
Well, that's pretty cool. Pretty talented.
Daniel Spector, elected board member with 30 years in the tech industry and expertise in cross-border governance, trade policy, and digital infrastructure. Spector has contributed across Asia-Pacific markets.
You're probably wondering why I said 8 board members. There's actually 10 of them, and I'll explain why in a picture in very soon.
Dylan Reeve, elected board member. Reeve began in the early internet industry before moving into film and journalism, where he focused on online misinformation and wrote Fake Believe, Conspiracy Theory in Aotearoa.
Yeah, so if we went to was it InternetNZ, contact and support, media, discover us, our board, there we go, found it. No, we didn't. Board members. All right, look at all the people here, right? See the people, all the pictures, the people, the clothes they're wearing, right? And then when you come to here, you can see they're wearing the same sort of clothes. I asked ChatGPT, I don't know, maybe 50 times to create 10 people at a board meeting with me at the front. And we could only ever create 8 people. But you can see, if you look at here, it's quite clever, really. But I'm just trying to get back to where we were. I'll just get rid of that. And you can see that the clothes, so we've got the same blue shirt, the lady, him, and it's quite cool. So when I'm reading through here, I keep thinking 8 because there's actually 10 people. And that's why there's 10. Okay.
Jonathan Ailing, elected board member, a public policy and governance leader with ministerial advisory experience. Ailing focuses on digital rights, civic infrastructure, and public interest stewardship of the NZ namespace.
So at a glance, you'd think all those 10 board members are doing a dandy job, wouldn't you?
This group collectively holds responsibility for financial oversight, governance, transparency, and the ethical operation of the NZ domain name system. As questions continue to grow around InternetNZ's decision-making and financial disbursements, public confidence depends on how this board responds.
Right, so for the sake of transparency and public accountability, and this is below is the exact email I sent InternetNZ as part of this investigation. I contacted InternetNZ's chairperson, Stephen, is it Judd? Directly on the 30th of October 2025, I offered INZ a fair and reasonable opportunity to provide clarity before any publication. This organisation did not respond. In fact, I got crickets. For transparency and accountability, here's the exact email I sent. Now, this email was actually reproduced with the help of ChatGPT. As far as I'm aware, it's word for word to what I sent. Let's have a read.
Dear Stephen, my name is Danny DeHeck. I am a New York Times featured investigative journalist, also profiled in Bloomberg and The Guardian, currently investigating a story concerning InternetNZ and the Domain Name Commission. I have been reviewing InternetNZ's published accounts and recent AGM transcripts, including several questions raised by members that remain unanswered. A number of these concern the organization's transparency and financial governance, specifically regarding the use of public good funding, transfers into endowment accounts, and the oversight of related entities. I would appreciate clear answers to the following points before publication of my upcoming piece scheduled for release within the next 7 to 15 days. Financial transparency. Despite InternetNZ's stated commitment to transparency, several members have expressed that it has been impossible to identify from year to year where the money has gone and who has benefited from it. Can you confirm who currently makes the decisions about where public good funding is allocated? What controls or oversight processes are in place to prevent conflicts of interest or favoritism? Why is there no detailed breakdown showing recipients of grants or good cause disbursements? Potential misallocation of funds. It has been suggested that certain board members may have directed funds toward personal or affiliated projects, which, if true, could amount to grounds for criminal investigation. How does InternetNZ ensure that no such conflicts occur? Endowment and revenue increases. The 2025 accounts reportedly show $11 million transferred into an endowment fund, while an additional $4 million annually appears to flow to entities unrelated to InternetNZ's core business. At the same time, domain registration fees increased by 22% in July 2025, generating roughly $3 million extra revenue. What was the rationale for these changes, and how are these funds being applied in the public interest? Where is the independent audit or board resolution authorizing these transfers publicly recorded? Regulatory status of the DNC. During the AGM, both you and Ms. Barbara Pierce appeared to refer to the Domain Name Commission Limited, DNC, as a regulator. Yet there seems to be no statutory basis for such a claim beyond and more with MBIE, which does not itself confer regulatory authority. On what legal foundation does DNC describe itself as a regulator? Has InternetNZ obtained formal advice confirming that representation is lawful under the Fair Trading Act? I understand from multiple sources that more than 20 written questions have been submitted to InternetNZ and DNC over the past year, most of which remain unanswered. I'm hoping to avoid adding to that list, and would genuinely appreciate your cooperation in clarifying these matters. I will be publishing a story on this investigation soon and would welcome a written reply, or if you prefer, a short interview. I'm also happy to provide any additional context or supporting material you may require. Best regards, Danny DeHeck.
Yeah, so you would expect to get some form of reply, or prefer not to comment, rather than getting crickets from an organisation that claims to be transparent. And also, that was 30 days ago. Now, as far as I'm aware, I checked my trash and I've tracked everything. I haven't received a phone call. Most companies, when you reply to them, normally send a message saying, give me a receipt of that you've received a reply. So obviously I hadn't done that. So what I'm saying is I had nothing from this organisation as far as I'm aware. Why would that be the case?
Why their silence matters. InternetNZ operates the backbone of New Zealand's digital identity. With that comes an obligation to maintain trust, transparency, oversight, financial integrity, genuine engagement with stakeholders. When questions about funding, governance, authority, and conduct are ignored, the trust erodes rapidly. When whistleblowers are dismissed, the trust erodes further. When millions of dollars move without transparent reporting, the public is right to demand answers.
So until InternetNZ provides those answers, the concerns remain legitimate. And it's really important. Now, you think about who I am. I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but I'm about to a little bit. I bust scams for a living. I spend 5 years of my life doing so. I spend 70 to 80 hours a week fighting this. I don't get paid for it as much as people think I do. I support myself doing drop shipping. So why is this organisation not talking to me? Surely I can talk to the FMA. They're quite chatty. After they might be slow, but occasionally I do get a personalised email, which is great. But why isn't this organisation that claims to be a regulatory voice in the internet of New Zealand not reaching out to me going, "G'day Danny, how you doing? Hey, I see you've received some correspondence from a few people and we'd like to clean up a few answers. Can't tell you everything, but I can tell you this. There was a rationale behind us increasing the wholesale price of domain names by 22%, and it was because of blah, blah, blah." Why do they not do that? Why do I get crickets from a company that claims they're in charge of the internet domain name space in New Zealand? I think it's disgusting, and I think it's about time these organisations were held accountable.
This investigation continues. The issues raised here are not going away. More documents exist. More voices are coming forward. More scrutiny is needed. In the coming weeks, I will continue reviewing.
Right, so we're going to be having a look at a few things. This is normally what I call the poke in the ribs for people that have been associated with this. In this very blog, that you go into the description of this video and there will be a link to this blog. At the bottom of this blog, there's a place you can post comments. You can do it anonymously if you like. Just use anonymous@gmail.com. Put anonymous as your name and post away. Or go to the contact page of this very blog and you can provide us additional information, and it can be anonymous if you want. Or if you've got your big boy trousers on or you're wearing your wee skirt, then by all means use your real name. We normally correspond with people. We don't just out-name people. So just, provide us information. Let's get the conversation going. This is a warm-up article. Sometimes I start these first blogs and then 20 blogs later, like we've done with Goliath Ventures Inc. Over the last 3 or 4 months, we've produced 20 blogs, 20 videos, and done a deep dive investigation into that company. We've now discovered they're running a full-blown Ponzi scheme and scam, and they've defrauded people out of $500 million. As I said at the beginning of this video, they've threatened me with my life, and they've offered me $150,000 to shut up. I don't do that. I basically want the truth. I tell the truth. I want honest answers back. Let's just get some conversations going. Let's clean this matter up. Let's make it nice for people who like registering domain names for a living, and let's make everyone happy families. Deal? Great. Right, glad we had that conversation.
The more in full DNCL's public claims oversight by charity services, InternetNZ's financial arrangements, potential conflicts of interest, governance behaviour, international parallels. The NZ namespace is a public asset. The public deserves transparency and accountability from the organisation that manages it.
Yeah, and this is only the beginning, as I just said. Now, just imagine that this organisation's decides to, and they tell everyone that we've decided to help Danny de Heck out, and we're going to sponsor him. We're going to give him $200,000 a year to help him fight online scams to help New Zealanders from getting scammed. Wouldn't that be awesome? They could say, we just gave $200,000 to Danny de Heck, who's an investigative journalist based in New Zealand. Was it ABC News have actually deemed Danny de Heck the biggest scam fighter in Australasia. And that's what they've said. ABC News in Australia deemed me the biggest scam fighter in Australasia. What a great person to actually donate to and give some of that money that you're hoofering off. Or are you going to sit there and think, oh, I know a mate down the road that's running a business, and he could do it with some of our money. He would like me at the pub when I go. I don't know. I'm not saying that's true, but you get the idea. If you are giving this money away to good people who need it, then why not name them? Why not name these organisations that you're giving the money away to? Or just be transparent with it. I mean, it's not rocket science, it may be to heck science. So how is this investigation done? Well, I rely on open source intelligence. We don't hack into anyone's computers. We rely on publicly available records, archived web pages, corporate filings, domain name data, social media activities, and if it's not, I don't think this one's got anything to do with the blockchain, but you get the idea. That's how we gather our intel about this information. So if I don't have this information correct in any which way or form, as I've already said 30 days ago too, is it Stephen, whatever his name was, he's welcome to do a write a reply and I'll add it to the bottom of this blog. If you don't know who I am, I don't know where you've been, about the author, Danny DeHeck, and look, Danny DeHeck now has a page on Wikipedia, which is really, really good. And we're always updating it. We've got a few dubious people. Oh my goodness, they've now got B. Sconfield in here, the Rolling Stones lady. Oh my goodness, this is fantastic. So we've got a lot of scammers in here. I must just give this to somebody. People who are adding content left, right, and center. I tell you what, you don't want to be in my. This is really funny. So this is a journalist who has been investigated for their journalism by serious investigators, have actually managed to publish. So have a good read of my my Wikipedia page. It's a bit of a laugh at the moment because every scammer known to man is trying to, how do I say, oh, it's a bit hard to say things, but it does make me laugh every day I go in there. So I've actually posted a page on my website called Smear Campaigns. And in here, I show articles. So if you come down to around about here, I've got all these YouTube accounts that have set up YouTube channels to defame me. And then we've got all these people who have set up domain names. So you can go to dannydheck.com or dannydeheck.info. Fake journalists we've had taken off. And this is a good example of how it actually works for domain name companies. So deheck.co. So I'll give you an example. We go to this one here. So now what I've got happening is my Wikipedia page. People are going to these sources of information, people who have set up websites to discredit me, and they're using it as credible information. So this is me, guilty, and this is the some of the the type of content that people are using to defame me. Writing all this information, it's just quite horrendous at the moment. However, my as Wikipedia, so what's happening here? We've got Wikipedia have now published an article about me. People are going in there and basically using smear campaign articles, which is a crack up. So it's quite cool. Hey, if you're not being talked about, you're nobody. But I'll have a read of that later. But I just notice a lot of these articles are actually getting, they're going to town. It's quite neat. Even like WP Engine temporarily disabled DeHeck's website following a complaint by Shavis Shadinky. Now, Shavis is a guy who was a 10-month investigation with Bloomberg. Bloomberg went through his company and found out that he wasn't backed by Visa as he claimed. And I caused him so much grief that he had a stroke, and he blamed me for that stroke. So we put videos on the internet of Shavis chain smoking when he thought he wasn't being filmed, and we were actually filming him. And since then, Bloomberg's done an amazing feature article exposing him. So now he produced fake documents, sent them to my ISP, claiming that there was a lawsuit. They were all produced with ChatGPT. It even had the square brackets insert date here button, and it also had all the emojis that you get when you create stuff with ChatGPT. So my hosting provider, WP Engine, gave me my marching orders. And now somebody's put this in here like it's true and factual. But the reality of it, if you go to my website, you can read the truth of all these smear campaigns. And everything I do is transparent, everything I do. So my website at the moment is actually protected by Google Project Shield, because I had 2 months solid worth of denial server attacks, meaning they throw so much data at my website, the website gets overwhelmed and crashes. So Google come along and said, you're an independent journalist, we protect people like you. So they've provided me a service called Google Project Shield. And if you go to the bottom down here, you can read about Project Shield. You can even see me with a shield. And I actually got myself, I landed on my feet basically with that. So now they've got people who are trying to write to YouTube and Google, wherever it is, Google, and claim that I shouldn't be backed. And that's a daily thing that happens when you fight scammers. The scammers fight back, and sometimes I just take it as a grain of salt and laugh. But most of my day is actually complaining, writing, addressing, and trying to keep and manage a force of scammers. If you come to the homepage of my website, you can see that this is just one of many blogs. Currently, I've got around about 400 blogs that expose scam and scammers. And every single one of those is done with open source intelligence, and we do a lot of. So if you want to support me in what I'm doing, please do consider joining the YouTube channel. It is much appreciated. And it's just tiring. It gets to me every now and again. People are always coming after me, but when I get something that's more local, I like to do a story on it. Now, no doubt I'll get some sort of letter telling me I've defamed somebody somehow. Even I don't know how I have. Have you watched this video and you thought I have? It is just a low-blowing, cheap way of when you accuse people of doing things. For example, I exposed a New Zealander who used to work for a government agency, left his job, and now promotes a full-time scam, a scam full-time. The company that he's promoting has been flagged by the FMA. They have produced over 250 different domain names trying to keep the scam going. He's left his government job and now working at recruiting people. We have evidence of the guy promoting the scam. We have a victim who we managed to get his money back after he took out all his savings out of, what do they call it, Sharesies. And we managed to get his money back. Actually, he came out $150 on top. He said that he was going to double his money in 1 month. But after he got all his money back, he was up $150 out of the deal. The guy that helped hold his hand through the whole lot has now sent me a legal letter claiming I'm defaming him. The lawyer said because I didn't pronounce his name correctly, which I won't do, I'm a racist, which I just can't believe. But these are the lengths that people go to stop me reporting the truth. So any information that I have in the blog that isn't correct, that's why I give people the right of reply. Please do provide that right of reply if I don't have the information correct. As I said, it's open source intelligence. Anything I find or discover or give to you guys isn't made up in my head. It's found on the internet. We read documents. We use AI to help us identify any red flags. But when I read the blog, hand on heart, it's truthful, genuine, good old-fashioned reporting. I'm Danny the Heck. Thanks for watching me. We'll see you in the next video. All right, let's have some fun on here. Now, that was interesting. So I have to do a whole article on, they've just found everything. Oh, this is great. So I'm going to look at this here now. They even found my 2010 article about Canterbury Equestrian, which was a friend of my ex-wife, which is laugh, man. So this is good. So they've actually gone to town and tried to find every bit of dirt they can on me. Look, even this one here that I just mentioned, the De Heck Co one. Like it's a credible. So anyway, that's just going to be absolutely laugh. I'll read through that later. I might have to do a whole blog on Wikipedia because that's going to be quite neat. Investigative journalist, Austin reporter. I was just going to say, have you seen the latest of it? G'day, mate. I'm actually on the live on the internet at the moment, but have you seen the latest update? Absolutely crack up. So I've got somebody who's been trying to help me fight this. I just sent them a message. But hey, I think this is actually kind of what I like. Like, I want people to read what's on Wikipedia, and I want them to see what it's like being a scam investigator. And I want people to see, like if you were on my website and I went websites, I just want to see if I can find reporting, DNS tools, YouTube, De Heck. What have I got? I thought I had podcasts. I thought I had a whole lot of what I call articles, tabs. blockchain stories. There might be here reviews, 2 reviews. No. Report. No. DNS tools. I've got too many tabs. Slander. Oh, there it is here. So this, to give you an idea, I think I did bookmark all these. So these are all the articles that and websites that people have set up to smear what I do. So I'll just run through them so you get an idea. Fake journalist, a whole YouTube. So I could spend all day long reporting these and they would just be back tomorrow, you know, but this is some of the stuff.
This is commentary based on public sources. Alleged recorded lines tied to Danny DeHeck promise to find your location, your number.
Yeah, we will find you. I think I like this one here quite a lot.
Ay, qué día hermoso. Pero nadie me mira si no invento algo, ¿viste?
How about this one?
People believe every word I spit, even when it's all lies. That's where the money comes from.
Look at this pile. Stolen.
So they're insinuating that I make money from doing what I do. It's absolutely crack up. So what the heck? That's original. I use that myself. I used to call my blog, my podcast used to be called What the Heck. Pretty crack up. So that's another channel that never got going, but we managed to bookmark it anyway. Danny DeHeck facts. So there's, you know, the blog set up. I sort of pissed off my share of people. The Danny DeHeck facts, that's another. These are all short videos that they've set up to defame me. This guy here is actually a real person. That's his real name. And this particular guy that's behind this has actually been in the papers for animal cruelty stuff, but he hates me for some reason. I don't even know who he is. Fight back. Well, I know who this lady is. This is May Summervu, and she's got a YouTube channel called May Summervu Exposing Cyber Bullying. So this lady here has been promoting things like Trades Technologies, Hyperverse, and she promotes scam after scam. This is her here.
And a YouTuber. He has a channel called the Crypto Ponzi Scheme Avenger. He believes that.
So this lady used to work with Sam Lee. Sam Lee's been detained and in Dubai for 60 days. He's been charged by America for $1.9 billion scam. May Summervu moved to Dubai. He was paying for her apartment. She complained about the size of her apartment, so he gave her a bigger apartment. She was plotting all sorts of things with Sam Lee. Now she's gone back to California and she's trying to start up her internet coaching business. And she's telling me that she thought everything that she was promoting, even though it's been flagged time and time again, were legitimate. And I'm just a cyber bully exposing her for promoting Ponzi schemes and scams. So now she's out there, creating videos trying to stop me from harassing her. But I've stopped her because every time she starts up something, we find it. It's absolutely, ridiculous. I think I've got. I won't get distracted. But anyway, so that's the type of thing. So here's another website. Oh, the images are gone. They haven't got this one going properly. What's happening here? This is the 22nd of November, so this was 8 days ago. Apparently there's an article here. Let's have a listen to the first paragraph.
This dossier consolidates user-provided screenshots, written statements, and publicly accessible digital traces that reference alleged intimidation attempts attributed to Danny DeHeck and individuals said to be associated.
I'm actually proud of this information, to be honest, because it's so, like, this one here is so funny. So this is one that I thought I could shut down. They used to have 10 blogs. So I've shut them all down, except for some reason they've decided to leave one article. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So I actually do find it comical. Here, you can actually have a whole, this one here is quite funny. Look, they've got a whole sort of pitch deck here that you can have of Danny DeHeck. Even this one here is quite cool. They say that I'm actually associated with, I think, which is called Crypto Queen, and I was promoting OneCoin. OneCoin was out before I started. I've never done any reporting on OneCoin, but apparently one of the top 10 most wanted people in America is canoodling with me. So there you go. So thank you. And that photo there, well, you think you could get this removed because that there photo is owned by the New York Times, which is a bit of a crack up. Yeah, so it just goes on and on and on. So is this one? Oh, yeah. So this is another article. But, getting these articles removed is a full-time job. I mean, this is why Wikipedia is actually quite cool for us, because it's a chance where to get proper information online. And I'm sure the editor of this is probably now opened a hornet's nest. But the fact is there's more and more information going on there every day, and it's coming from not credible sources. Actually, is going to be a challenge for Wikipedia. And unfortunately, I can't do anything about it because Wikipedia doesn't allow people like me to edit their own content. So now I need to ask people. So what I am actually asking people, if anyone's associated with Wikipedia in any which way or form, do your research about me and remove all the fake content on my Wikipedia page, because at the moment it's actually discrediting Wikipedia for being truthful and factual information. You cannot say that a lady or a man or an B. Sconfield, actually has a voice. They have not even, this person that they're quoting from isn't even independent, proper internet journalist. It's crazy. Anyway, do your own research. Yeah, it just amazes me. I think it's quite cool. It's quite fun watching it happen because it's something I don't really have any control at. Now, I've only got about another hour, but I would actually, wouldn't mind actually having a wee go at going into some Zoom meetings and see if we can cause some havocs. So my internet handle today is going to be called Steve Sneeve Davis, and we'll just go and open up a few windows. Now, if you're wondering why I'm going into Zoom meetings, if we go back to deheck.com, and we shut down a couple of these windows and you click on contact us, you can go to Zoom Patrol. Now, I am known for going into Zoom meetings and policing Zoom's platform. Zoom acceptable use guidelines. You may have not seen them, but if you go to Zoom's acceptable use guidelines, you actually are not allowed to use Zoom for multi-level marketing. You can see it there, right? So what we've done is we've got a list of over 200 Zoom meetings which are using Zoom to promote multi-level marketing. Now, multi-level marketing may not be illegal as such in most countries, but the Ponzi schemes and scams that these people are hoping to push in front of you as a mum and dad investor and telling you that you're going to build your own passive income is a lie, because these companies don't exist. The companies haven't registered themselves as proper entities. They're no companies. They're just going after you, depositing your crypto into these platforms. They get a commission. They take off the money. And that's the scam. So it's rampant at the moment. The scams are coming out of Myanmar, a lot of the human trafficking compounds. We have tracked them. I've been to the conference. I was in Sydney, Australia with 150 other people like me who fight cybercrime online. If you knew the bigger picture of these scams that are running at the moment, you wouldn't have anything to do with these investment scams. So you heard about the internet, people losing millions of dollars to investment scams. Well, in my opinion, most of them are run on Zoom. So recently I've been talking to a few reporters, documentary companies, and I've been telling them, why don't you do a documentary about Zoom? Because Zoom is facilitating people to promote these Ponzi schemes and scams, and it's really that bad. So Queen of Karma's onto it. She's actually been doing a few. I did actually think about doing one with you the other day, Queen of Karma. I thought it would be a bit of a laugh. Have you got any links? So we've got a team of Avengers who give us links to some meetings. So we're just going to go and see if we can find some of those. We've got one. These are, I'm a bit all over the place. I'm a bit upset about my, I'm a bit upset about my Wikipedia page though, because it's not nice. I quite like it being in Wikipedia, but everything I do, my Facebook, my Instagram, my TikTok, my Reddit account, all gets shut down by people who continuously report me because they don't like me exposing their scams, which is absolutely just, after a wee while, it's kind of like, the people that do like me are people like the Homeland Securities, the FBI, all those sort of people. Oh, look at that. I'm trying to find Zoom live. We're just going into a few regular Zooms. We'll see if we can find some live. Is that the same ones? Now, Jelly Snack, I haven't seen you here. Are you holidaying? Okay, so now we've got some of these lives. We'll go in here and see what we can do. I'll just shut up some of these. Get rid of that. Let's see what we can do. So we're going to just bounce into a few of these. Oh, turn the camera off. All green. Not my favorite color. Whoops. Microphone on. Meet with Doc. So it gets pretty noisy, and the goal here is to cause major disruption. So it will get noisy if we get a chance to cause disruption. And a lot of the time is we actually literally shut down these meetings. We cause so much havoc that they can't run the meeting, which is a bit of a shame for them, but not so much for us. So that's our goal today, is to actually shut down these meetings. Zoom have updated the way they do it at the moment, which is a bit of a pain in the bum. But long story short is we are pretty good at using Zoom. If you ever want to help us, you can go into these meetings. Once we get a live one, we'll give you an ID and we'll give you a password. If you have got Zoom on your computer, uninstall Zoom from your computer and access their platforms via a web browser. If you do have the unfortunate event of being disconnected, if they kick you out, you can literally empty your cache in your computer browser and start again. So what I do is I have, I think, 8 different browsers on my computer. And when they boot me out, I literally fire up another browser. I can have 8 Zoom meetings going at the same time. And that's how we stay in these meetings. So when we find what we call a live one, we will boot up 7 other browsers if we think it's worthwhile doing it. And we will go in there and cause havoc. They'll kick us out 7 times before we even need to re-empty our computer cache or anything like that. So it's quite hard cache, really. I just thought I'd tell you that. Now I've got over 200 of these meetings. I have no time. I passive use Zoom. We report them 100 times, nothing annoying. Yeah, they do nothing. So we used to report these meetings to Zoom. And unfortunately, what actually happened was Zoom decided to ban me from their system. It was only after I started telling them that and CCing lawyers' email addresses who have had problems with them in the past. And then we started getting some really official statements from Zoom basically telling us to piss off, which was a bit of a shame. But long story short, oh, that's no good. We'll shut that down. Davis is Zoom don't like us because we make them accountable for letting people use their platform to promote Ponzi schemes and scams. And I don't see why these companies should not be held accountable for their actions. And that's really what I do this for. So if you do go to my Wikipedia, you will see actually that's what I'm known for, is going into Zoom meetings. So you may have seen the Indian call centers in the past, and you see these people. You know, they go after the call centers. Well, these are the modern call centers, I believe. So let's just go through here and see if we've got anything live at the moment. It is 12 o'clock, which is actually our prime time for these meetings. Here we go. Here's one that's empty, so I'll get rid of that. Sometimes they leave their Zoom meetings wide open. I have no idea why they do that. All right, I'm just going to go in here and remove this one because I don't. Bookmarks. Smarts. Oh, my goodness. Some of these are funny. So I'll just get rid of that one. Prime time. Happy. Whoops, turn my camera off. Alrighty, so that's looks like we've got nothing really there. So now what we will do is we'll open up another session. So we'll go to bookmarks, and this time we'll go open up 37 other meetings. So now we're up to around about 70 tabs I'll have open in a second. And we'll shut this one down. We'll go to about here. Here we go. So patience is a virtue, so they tell me. Little boy waits. So we will put a clock on as well. I like to put a clock. I'll do that because most of these meetings start on the hour. Oh, I thought it was actually on the hour. So there we go. Let's see. So if you don't know who Steve Davis is, he's actually a veteran firefighter who's decided to go to all his mates who are firefighters and entice them to sign up for an investment opportunity which guarantees 3% return per month. So a lot of firefighters, because they trusted him, have done that with their money. And now we've found out that it's a Ponzi scheme and a scam. He gets commission every time or a higher percentage of payout every time he recruits into it. And now he's doing all sorts of videos telling everyone how he's an entrepreneur and he's just the man about town. But he really is now the gangster around town who's stealing money from a lot of good fireman, and it's disgusting. So I've just used his name because it was in the browser window, in case you're wondering why I've picked his name out. But he's not a good guy. He used to be a good guy. He used to walk into buildings and save people from fires, cut people out of vehicles, and now he tells people what to do with their money like a financial advisor. But the reality is he's ignoring all the signals that we've given him about Goliath Ventures Inc. So we're using his name because he needs to be named and shamed. And if you search for Stephen Davis on deheck.com, you can read all about it. Unfortunately, not a good guy. Right, let's see what we've found here. There's bound to be one of these meetings open soon. I can't see anything. It will be all noise when it does happen, and hopefully it will be a meeting that we can have a bit of fun with. When I say fun, we can try shutting down and cause a bit of havoc. We have had opportunities where we've actually gone in here and managed to take over their microphones and ask them some curly questions. They normally just call us dream stealers and haters and allege that we don't know what we're talking about. And then we say, okay, then, well, can you please explain more about the company that you're promoting? Where are they located? Where are they registered? Who is the company CEO? Usually shuts them up. Nothing could get crickets. So here we go, and we've now got 70 tabs open. Let's see myself there, turn the camera off, don't let them see me coming. And we will, whoop, there's another couple. Get those shut off. And who have we got? There we go, it's just a message. Right. So hopefully we are. There we go. So we'll just go through and make sure we've got all our ducks in a row, and then we'll open up some other tabs. Oh, who do they think they are kidding, Mr. Hitler? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Steve Davis. Maybe Steve Davis isn't a good name. Maybe they don't believe he's real, genuine. Okay, so that's no. There are no fish. No fish. I have a lot of tabs open. I certainly do. All right, so let's go to another one. Let's see what else we've got. So we've done Zoom, we've done active. Zoom Patrol. Now, Zoom Patrol's 40 new tabs. So now we are going to have 110 tabs open, and this is where it gets fun. So the computer may make me a bit jumpy because I'm asking my web browser to do a lot. In case you're wondering, I actually use a laptop to stream in 6. At the moment, we're streaming on 6 different locations. And the interesting thing about what I'm trying to say is I use an M4 computer with 2 terabyte hard drive, just in case you're wondering, for tech kids. So that's why it's quite a powerful computer. So it does allow me to open up quite a few tabs, not the normal computer. If you're using a Windows computer, you could probably beef that computer up to something crazy. Now, if you're wondering what meeting link 303 means, that means that these people have decided to change their Zoom meeting link to stop people like me going in there and causing havoc. So cache node is a cashenode.finance is a scam that I've exposed months ago. And that's interesting that they have now redone their Zoom meeting link. That means they're either trying to hide. Oops, I've gone all funny. Yeah, I'm just trying to get these links. So I'll fix my camera up. I have to click a button every time it goes funny like that. I'm back. But we're bound to find a meeting soon. It will give you a demo. So you know what would actually help us is be able to have people in government departments that could act more swiftly. I mean, it would help us if government agencies could see that this is clearly a scam and take decisive action and shut down people in real time. Because that's what we are doing. We're reporting scams that are happening in real time. We're reporting people who are lying, telling people that they're going to be able to build a passive income opportunity of a lifetime if they just sign up and part with their money. They make unsubstantiated claims. The Fair Trading Act, if you guys have it in your country, if it looked at these opportunities that these people are offering and said you need to back up your claims. I'll give you an example. Goliath Ventures. Give me $100,000 and we'll give you 3% return per month. And they also tell people that the money is insured. So they give people a 27 or 14-page contract to sign. I forget. I must look it up. And in the contract, it says the insurance, if you're interested about insurance, email us. They don't even state the insurance that they claim they have. Can you imagine making such a claim that you can invest in crypto, have it all guaranteed, backed up and insured, and then crypto loses $380 million in one day, biggest loss ever a few weeks ago, and this company doesn't even flinch. And why doesn't it flinch? Well, it's not running a crypto company, is it? No, it's running a massive Ponzi scale, and they know how to get into the communities. They know how to schmooze with all those people, and people don't do the due diligence. The company that we're just talking about, Goliath Ventures, closed down on the 3rd of September 2025 in Florida. So everybody, they claim that they have 1,500 members, have got contracts in their hands that don't have any credibility anymore. So even their own contracts contradicts what they're saying. So they reopened themselves in Wyoming, which is a really slack state for opening up companies, and the business is normal. But they've shut down one entity, carried on using contracts from that entity that shut down, and set themselves up as a new, completely standalone entity with the same name, and people haven't questioned it. And then, just a few days ago, somebody reached out to us who had invested $250,000 in this company. 24 hours later, they're freaking out, saying that they've just discovered my videos. And it's just so we're going to actually, and what people don't know, which people who can follow what I've been doing, they've threatened my life, and they've offered me $150,000 to shut up. And there's something else bigger I can't tell you about, which is quite amazing. But anyway, what we've discovered recently is they're now targeting Canada. So, that's why I was going to ask you, Queen of Karma. Oh, Jelly Snap, you are in there. Hello, how you doing? Nothing's happening here. Have you got one for me? So now that they're targeting Canadians, we need to start up round 2. So we're going to be producing a blog in the not too distant future, highlighting all the Canadians that are promoting it. So even though we've done an amazing job, slowing this company down in Florida, we now realize that they're running a larger, much bigger organization. They've got a bigger footprint. So now we have to start doing warnings to Canadians. And I was going to actually ask Queen of Karma if she would be interested in actually maybe we could do a duo awareness campaign for Canadians who are thinking about investing with Goliath Ventures. So if that's something you're looking at, I'm looking for a meeting. You're good, aren't you? You are. So it does seem crickets at the moment. But then again, it is Thanksgiving, isn't it? And that's interesting. So let's see. Now, I haven't got all the web browsers open. I don't know if I want to go and open up any more because I might just cause havoc. But you know me, I'm curious. So I might just have a look at a few Joyce ones. Webinars, email needed, Avengers. So if I have a look at webinars, passcodes. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see what we've got. I'm just going to open up a few. Oh, I need passcodes. That's going to be the problem, isn't it? 369. 369. Don't ever want to go there. We can also, Marco, he'll be cool. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah. Oh, great. Well, that's excellent. Yeah, so I'll have a yarn. We'll jack that up. We've actually started writing something, I believe, already about it. But we're going to produce a blog first. So there'll be a chance there we'll produce the blog and you can have a good look at it. And then maybe we could figure ways of getting it in front of the right people. Now, there doesn't seem anything happening here. So I'm tempted to actually open up another 20 windows. So if I go correctly, I apologize, but I'm going to go correctly. See if we can go back to, so these are Zoom meetings which require me to log in first that we're about to go into, and we will see what actually happens here. And I've got an appointment in an hour's time that I'll need to leave, so we haven't got too long here. Okay, so now we're going back to this one. All right, so now we're there. So we're off. So the first one here is 1, 2, 3. Hopefully that works. And if so, I know, 1, 2, 3. It might be Jim. Let's see if that works. Oh, good. Not now. Really, you're going to make me do that every time? So that's legend. The next door one will be, that will be 365. 369. It's good. I'll click my button again. All right, so that's good. Just going to go back and clear up a window. Get rid of that one. Right, now we're up to 1, 2, 3. Big passwords. Yep. Not now. Please. Can I just shut down that password tool? That might be easier. Quit. Let's see if that works. Future-proof myself. Okay, and that should also be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Ah, comes back. Shut down the password tool and it comes back. You can't see this password box that's popping up. So now we're starting to do some really tricky passwords. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm just wondering if I can actually, this time I'm going to go save password. Look at that hairy monster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we'll turn the camera off and go join. This time I'm going to go save password and see whether it allows me to stop that. Okay, this one here is, I think it's 2024. I need to update that password. Turn the camera off. It's going to join. No, it must be still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see if we can do that. Yep. Now I'm doing 2024. It didn't work. Still getting a box popping up saying save password. Oops, Danny's gone. Hello, Danny. Oh, he's back. What happened there? 2024. Now we're going to go 2025. This is exciting for those who haven't been here before. It's another one. Alrighty, 2024. I think we're going to go another 2025. Turn the camera off. Now. Alright, so now we're going to go to no limit. No limit. Low limit, there's bound to be one here. Oh, they always got meetings. This one here, no limit, is crazy. So all these, if you're wondering why and where we get these links from, these are all, let's say, donated to us by people who, and it's probably because it's been Thanksgiving, because scammers need to have Christmas off too, you know, they've got families. So this one's travel. So I presume they've decided to take it off over Thanksgiving, and that's probably why there's going to be no action. But anyway, you get the idea, I assume, that you can see how rampant these are because of the amount of scams that I'm not the biggest YouTuber in the world, but if I've got over 200 logins to meetings that are promoting multi-level marketing, and I'm just one individual with a team of mighty Avengers behind us, that just tells you how rampant it is. This is how bad this one is. I remember the number. I think it's 8535. 319. You start to memorize these numbers, which is pretty hard case. And this is Riz, which is Ryan, who we just saw a new video this morning. If you follow me on Twitter, you will see that I have posted about him. He's just won some award for a company that he's only started promoting 7 weeks ago, and it's just the best company in the world. And it's like, oh my goodness, you know, it's like I just gotta, I won't do it, but let's go. I'm nearly there. I'll just log into these ones, but I'll show you, you know, it's just like when you follow these guys and watch them go from one Ponzi scheme to the other, it is actually breathtaking to see how they survive. And they must just build up these communities, and the communities go, oh, I lost on the last one that you told me about, but I'll ignore it this time, and I'll sign up for this one. And then he gets another commission. But over the years, these guys just keep building up. 39, building up their community. And it's just actually quite amazing. Right, so let's go to the next one. Oh, there I am again. Hairy man. Now, alignment. I won't be able to spell that. Let's go ALIGNMENT. Oh, what a heck of a password. Okay. And Steve Davis. Now, I'm not sure mindset. I think that was the last one. It is. All right, I'm just going to have a quick look at x.com. Yeah, and if you go to DHEC, I think you can go DHEC. Imagine taking that out for dinner and she's sitting there with a face like that, looking like bored out of her brains. That's not very encouraging. So if we go to Danny DeHeck, oh, some scams have stopped holding meetings on the weekend. Oh, I see. Oh, well, that won't matter. Right, so let's go profile. Oh, look, it tells you I'm live. Did you know that? How about that? There I am. I'll be live right there. 5 views. Thank you very much to all my YouTubers. And there's the video that I'm live with. But this one here is Riz on stage. And I said it's kind of hard watching Ryan telling everyone that this project is going to change the world when you've been following this guy for years. This must be Project 500, question mark. That's going to change, that's going to change the world. That never eventuates. But the reality is it's actually just multi-level marketing, hoping to get commissions where it's going to change lives, but never does. Oh, I give up. I didn't read that very well. But anyway, have a listen to this.
Very soon, I think he's going to be the first round diamond. Watch out, you guys. He's going to be the first round diamond.
So that's great, and I think we'll get to the point where he talks so I can hear music.
I basically was converting my Bitcoin every day that I mined into XRP.
So he mines Bitcoin. Do you know how he mines Bitcoin? He uses BitHarvest. You know BitHarvest is currently frozen all their funds. So what he does, he has this little wee USB drive, and he claims that it makes him gazillion dollars a day, Bitcoin, mining for Bitcoin. Now he converts his Bitcoin dollars into XRV, which is not. It's a platform that promotes. It's not even XRP. It's an AI platform that has their own token. So he converts his token, his money he claims he makes, into this platform, and now he's a diamond rank holder. And this company's only been around for seven weeks. He's been promoting this company for 7 weeks. I haven't explained it very well, but if you know what I'm talking about.
I thought, gosh, it sure be nice if I could go ahead and just make some more XRP somehow. Completely manifested it. The next day, my friend called me up from South America and told me about this. And so after I did my investigation work on it.
Now he's into the Elon Musk dust, as he calls it, the horse tranquilizers. That's why he's a wee bit jumpy. He, I've forgotten what they call it, but anyway, I'm sure Sergio will tell us what they call the drug that he's on. But you can see the way he jumps around the stage. It's actually more calmer than he's been lately. So maybe he's.
I decided this was going to be a massive opportunity. We all know that AI is going to go ahead and change the financial system. This is just, I feel so honored to be working with such great leadership, and this is really just divine timing, not just the crypto, not just the technology of AI, but most importantly, the leadership, the people that share the vision, and also just the...
Did you hear everyone in the audience isn't listening to him because they're having a conversation all by themselves and somebody just gone shh.
Perfect opportunity.
Judge Judy would be proud.
Connect with so many people that are on this mission right now. I've never seen, this is the dream team right here. This is the dream team. Okay?
Yeah.
And this is a tool which is going to really redefine the market, the crypto and network marketing.
So everything that Ryan promotes is just always in the future and never eventuates. And in the meantime, people sign up and he gets a commission and then they climb up the rank. It's not rocket science, ladies and gentlemen. But they talked about following his leadership when it comes to his Twitter account. So if you go to his Twitter account, you can see he's got less followers than I've got. He's following more people than are following him, which means he's followed everyone's account. They get notified and then you click and you follow back. But, you know, so he's like nobody. And also, just to put it in perspective, just to be funny, I have a whole folder dedicated to Ryan. So here's somebody who's been involved in promoting Ponzi schemes and scams for more than, And he rang me up one day and he said, would you like CoffeeZilla's phone number? And I said, yeah, okay. And he actually did give me CoffeeZilla's phone number, which I'm probably eternally grateful for. But if you come to, I don't even know how to find that now. I think I just opened up all his YouTube channels. Oh, here we go. So this guy's been on YouTube. So this channel goes back, well, I don't know. It's too long to say, but it goes back to 2017. And you'll see 4 days ago. So this is his active YouTube channel. You click on videos a day ago. So this would probably be the event that he was at. But here he is now promoting all the stuff to do with XAV, not XRP AI. It's kind of like they're passing off something that isn't theirs. What they're doing is they're promoting an AI tool, generating tokens which are XAV, but they're using the name XRP. I believe they're passing off that name to give you a false sense of security, but the association is minimal. So if you go back to my Twitter account, X account, you can see I've put a link to a blog where we've done a full thing about all this sort of stuff. So you can see he's all over it, like all the other scams. So if I shut this page down and then I went here, here's another YouTube channel that he's got, and in here he's talking about ketamine.
As I call it, ketamine, which is very interesting. Ketamine has been known as a horse tranquilizer. Okay, so it's been known as that, and then it's been interesting. We're going to talk about, first of all, you know, how ketamine has evolved in the United States.
So this is him 4 days sober from ketamine, and here he is telling everyone that he's going to be safe living in Bali now because he's not using ketamine, but he was buying it illegally. 90 views a year and a half ago. So I did a whole story on that. It was quite a laugh, really. Here you can go back and read his whole history, and when he was a young fella, and some of the things he's done. He's ruined his family. He's left his kids, and he's just basically now living in. But if you go back to some of the stuff that he was doing when he was younger, like let's have a look at a random one. Let's go here.
Nine Killer Brothers. We've decided to hold off. They are located in Dubai, a corporate headquarters at FutureNet, and they're really helping with the special ops with everything that we integrate over into FutureNet on the major scale. So Joby Weeks and myself and the Stein Killer Brothers are working diligently to go ahead and bring some of the things, because obviously...
So 7 years ago, more rubbish. More YouTube channels. Look at this. Look at him when he's young. It's got me
When I went to get Ross, I spent 5 days with him, and my biggest regret that I didn't take action on the first day, because if I did, I'd be on a different level.
He wished he took action on the first day because it would have been good. And that was what they called Bid Club Net back in 2016. You know, but it's quite comical watching somebody who has a passion for, let's say, crypto and everything, but he's never made it big, and he's only going after multi-level marketing. So I did a whole This Is Your Life video a few years ago. Not a year ago, probably a year ago. But have a look at this.
They have gone ahead and held this thing going on by a shoestring, okay, for so long. And you guys, back when the market collapsed a long time ago, there wasn't cryptocurrency.
I don't think you're hearing any birds here, Suze. But yeah, here we go.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Conley, and I have been suffering for nearly 20 years with an early onset dementia.
I guess what he was promoting at the time. Yes, revolutionary concept of helping people with dementia. So now his dementia was 3 years ago. That video was uploaded, but basically this is your life moment, and it's quite funny.
Another day, another dollar. My wife is a lab. I want to throw a shout out to everyone that's interested in learning more about Buzz Tracker, where you actually get paid to share videos online, and that's more than what YouTube pays per view.
Everything that is kind of like, do you want to buy a watch? And there's a guy standing on the street corner, and he's wearing a trench coat, and he opens up the trench coat and goes, do you want to buy a watch? That's sort of the guy Ryan is. He promotes anything that just comes out, and it's going to change the world. And if you disagree with him, he'll give you a lecture. But we've had him on here a few times. I actually, one of the quotes on my Wikipedia page was that I had my YouTube channel banned for public nudity, and it was actually Ryan was live on the internet, and he decided to downtrout and do a brown eye to us. Not that you could see anything, I mean that in the nicest possible way, but that was deemed as public nudity, and I got a warning from YouTube for doing that while I was broadcasting live. But now if you read my Wikipedia page, it says that my channel got shut down for public nudity. Not really, it was Ryan doing a downtrout on us when we were interviewing him. So it's all part of going live. I've got to be careful what goes in front of my screen. So now if something comes live that I shouldn't have on the screen, my option is to shut it down as soon as possible and remove the video before YouTube gives me a warning. It's just the life of doing what I do, ladies and gentlemen. But if you know the full story, it's better than knowing the made-up story, right? Alrighty, so I don't think we're actually going to be lucky enough to actually find any meeting, but we'll go through the 120 tabs that we do have open, and we just may stumble across a live meeting, or it would be safe to say it's been lovely being here with you, but I think that scammers also like to take and have family time. So that's what they're doing over this, after I believe that most of America is actually, what do they call it, after Thanksgiving? Not doing anything. I don't even know what Thanksgiving is. I must do a bit of research on it. I always, when I hear Thanksgiving, because of my being brought up in a religious cult, I think it has something to do with Christmas. But is Thanksgiving just a day that you spend with your family to reflect on what it's all about? Because if that's the case, that's pretty interesting. I don't do Thanksgiving, but I am going to visit a dear friend of mine this afternoon who was pitched a Ponzi scheme from a scammer. And I know where they live. Now, that doesn't make sense, really, but a dear friend of mine had a stroke about 3 years ago, and I go visit him every couple of months. And he texted me the other day, couldn't talk to me properly on the phone, but I knew who it was, and now I'm going to go visit him this afternoon. This guy actually lives right next door to a lady who is a scammer. And I know that, but she doesn't know that. You know, so it's just crazy. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do this afternoon. So every time I go to this guy's house, he was pitched, an 80-year-old guy was pitched one of these Ponzi schemes by somebody, and I know where she lives, and they're dear friends of mine. But anyway, that's what I'm doing this afternoon. I'm going to go visit them. I think we're done. I think we are done. Let's just, yeah, I'm not going to run out of time. I think we're done, guys. We failed finding a Zoom meeting after opening up 120 Zooms. So that means I'm going to stop here, say thanks to all the people in the chat room, especially Susie, Queen of Karma, Jelly Smack. Jelly Smack, I can't believe you couldn't find a meeting. You're normally my go-to girl for that. I'm just going to have a wee look, make sure that we haven't accidentally stumbled across one. No, we haven't. I think we've done a good job. Yeah, you do know who I'm talking about, Susie. That's friggin' hilarious. Yeah, goodness me. Yeah. What do you think of the beard, guys? Do you think it's good? It's a bit strange. I'm shaving under my chin because it was really itchy, and it's kind of quite nice now. I'm rubbing this and it's going, you know, but I think I'm gone quite white. It's a bit of a laugh. Yeah, so we'll readjourn. I have got a few things in the pipeline. As I said, we actually are going to be doing another update on Goliath Ventures, and what we will be doing is highlighting how Canadians are now investing in Goliath Ventures, because we've got 6 different government agencies. We have got one in Canada going after this scam, but obviously the word hasn't got enough out to the Canadians. So we now need to do a bit of a campaign, a call out to people who are Canadians about Goliath Ventures and the fact that they are promoting their Ponzi schemes and scams to mum and dad investors, and it's a very real thing. As I said, I think 3 or 4 days ago, some individual, we put in 250,000. Well, I can't say what's happened there, but you know, we don't want to have these hard luck stories where people have realised they've just deposited money into an opportunity where they thought they were going to get 3% per month, but the reality is they're actually using their money to pay old investors, and they're using their money to give them the commissions or the dividends that they think they are getting from doing high yield risk crypto investments that they've got no proof that they are doing. And we've fully exposed Goliath Ventures, and they're trying to come after us with everything they've got. And it's actually quite breathtaking from my perspective, but that's the reality. All right, Susie, I think we're done. Oh, not sure. Let's see. So many Canadians. Yes, we have got a whole list of them at the moment. It's looking pretty bad. We've done. I think we're done. So thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you in the next video. Sorry, this one's a bit short. I'm sorry I didn't have any excitement. But if you are thinking about getting a domain name, .co.nz domain name, do think about where the money's going, and I'll chop this up into a small video for other people who don't want to watch me sit here trying to find a Zoom meeting where people are promoting Ponzi schemes and scams in real time. See you in the next video, guys. Read in the room. Don't do Americans meeting to have a dinner, I think. Oh, yes. Oh, any intel, please go to deheck.com. Go to the contact page, fill out the form, keep it anonymous if you want to. Any intel is much appreciated. Leads, any Ponzi schemes or scams that you know are happening right now and you're uncertain, please give them to us. We'll review them and we'll do a video and highlight all the red flags if there is any. But there always is, isn't there? Don't invest money online is my advice I give people. Stay away from online crypto investments. Nothing wrong with crypto, as they say. Well, I have to say that because a few of my Avengers love crypto more than me. But if it involves crypto and it involves a reward if you sign up a friend, and if it sounds too good to be true, those three things wave enough red flags to make a real big breeze in my face. So you do the same. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.